Hey there, it's Nathalie. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you're here, or I'm so glad that you're back. I went to the Dollar Tree and found this package of fat quarters. Of course, they weren't $1.25. They're 5. But anyway, they're so super cute. And so I have a bunch of gals. We do a retreat every now and then. And so for gifts, we're going to do these little crossbody bags. And so I told them I would develop a pattern for them so that we could do these little cute little flat bags, so they can put their little booklets and their little devotional things in that. Anyway, so don't go away. I'm going to show you how to do this. And the pattern will be for a download. You have to subscribe to my blog. And then you can go to myhallcloset.com. Free good stuff. I'll put the link below. Subscribe and you can download the pattern for free. I'm using fat quarters from the Dollar Tree and then cut out the pattern. Download it from myhallcloset.com. And it's got all the fabrics and stuff that you'll need is on there, the measurements and everything. You're going to need a hair tie, button, and 2 colors of fabric or 3 colors of fabric. I'm going to use this little owl, and then I'm going to make my pocket and flap in this coordinating color. Also, I'm going to get rid of the selvage, so I'm going to trim that away and make sure that my pattern is running the direction that I need for it to run. I mean, I'm doing it with the lengthwise of the fabric, but I'm talking about on the pattern. The little owls are going to be facing up and not sideways. Trim that all around. I use my paper scissors to cut out my paper pattern. Don't use your good fabric scissors for that. Although those scissors are pretty good, the ones that I have for my paper scissors. Now I'm going to do the coordinating for the pocket, and also getting rid of that selvage edge. You can use a rotary cutter. I use scissors at the first one, rotary cutter, so that you can see either or. If you have a rotary cutter, my blade's a little loose, and I tighten it up in just a little bit. Keep your thumb out of the way. All right, and so when I get ready to cut my flap, I want to make sure that the pattern on the fabric is not directional, like the printed pattern, not the pattern that I'm using to cut out, but the design is whether it's directional or not. And these little feathers, they can go either way. So like these little mushrooms, you definitely would want to cut them where your flap would be, where the mushrooms would be right side up. And I'm just saying, okay? But the little feathers on here, either way, because some of them go up and some of them go down. So that works out really good. So I need to cut 2 pieces of that, and you actually could cut one in this red fabric and then another fabric for the liner. So that's the scissors I'm talking about. They're Westcott from Walmart, and they're cheap. They're over in the office supply, and they're super, super sharp. They're like, well, they were when I bought these, $3.97 for 2 of them in a package. Who knows what the price is of them now? Oh my gosh. So I'm going to put these right sides together, or as some of you like to say, pretty sides together. And then we're going to go over to the sewing machine. I'm going to turn that pocket top down 1 inch, and then I'm going to turn it under 1/4 of an inch. Make sure it's 1 inch, then turn it under like a little 1/4 of an inch, and then just top stitch that. I'm doing it from the back side so I can make sure that my seam is straight. And so this will just be the little top. Now you could line the pocket if you wanted to, and then you don't have to, then you'll have double layer of fabric. And so I'm going to find the center of my flap, because I want, and this is at the bottom of the flap, because I want to put a little hair tie in there in just a little bit. Not right this second, but this is just a little elastic hair tie. They come in all kinds of colors. You could get a coordinating color, but I just chose black. Now, pretty sides together, and I'm going to do a 1/2 inch stitch. That's what's allowed on the patterns, is a 1/2 inch stitch. Go around that, and then whenever I get down to that pin that's marking the middle, I'm going to stop. Instead of pinning that hair tie in and fighting with that, I want to just kind of ease that tie in, make sure that metal piece is out of the way and onto the right side, like your right hand side, because we're going to cut that off. You don't want it hanging out on the top of your crossbody bag. Double stitch that, then get down, turn these little corners, keeping it that a 1/2 inch stitch. And then I'm going to trim those corners. Be careful that I'm cutting off the hair tie. Trim the corners. Be careful that you don't cut your stitches. And then turn it right side out. You can use a pokey tool if you want to, or you can just use your fingers and kind of poke out those little corners. You can also press it if you want to. and go to the ironing board and press it. But I'm just going to finger press this. And then the other thing, once you start to stitch it, you can do a little edge stitch really close to the edge, or you can come in, and I'm coming in. I'm using my presser foot as my guide. And so watch that, and then here we go, 1/4 inch all the way around. We're going to make a whole bunch of these. There's a bunch of us that are making 100 of these little bags, and they'll be all different kinds of fabrics. So it'll be a pretty fun project. So that's the inspiration for this pattern, so that our bags could all pretty much, the design look all the same. All right, now I'm going to stitch on my pocket. Now, if you are an intermediate sewer or not a beginner, or if you're a confident beginner, you don't have to do this step. You can skip this step, and you could just pin this together. I mean, you could, and then lay the, what will be the back onto that. But I'm going to pin it all together so that you can see. Now, this is the back of the bag. The flap pins to the back. I'm centering up the top of the back and centering up the flap so that it's even across there. And this is an optional step too. I'm doing a little 1/4 inch seam or presser foot width seam just to kind of hold that in place. And it's going to make it easier when I turn it under in the finishing. But again, it's optional. I'm going to do a 1 inch seam now because I want a 1 inch turn under for the whole top of the bag. And then that holds that little flap in that 1 inch place. All right, now this is the one that I said is optional. You can skip this step if you want to, and just pin that pocket in place. But I went ahead and showed this for my beginners who watch my videos. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I can teach you a thing or two along the way. I love sharing what I know. All right, so back of the crossbody purse and the front. Make sure the pocket is turned the right direction, like, you know, so it's not upside down. So the closure of the pocket is to the bottom. All right, then we're going to go back and we're going to do a 1/2 inch seam all the way around. Do a little back stitch at the top and at the bottom. It probably really isn't necessary, but I like to do that, especially on a little purse. Some of the areas don't need that, but and got that in a little short there. One more stitch, and that'll put me at my 1/2 inch. There we go, and then another little back stitch whenever I get to the end. Ding-ding-ding-ding-ding. Clip that little thread. Now, I went to the serger and finished my edges. Now, this is funny. I was like, oh no, I turned it wrong. Oh no, I just didn't get it turned right side out the right way. But I had a moment of panic there. You can clip the corners if you want to. I didn't clip the corners, but you can. And I also serged the inside. You could also serge this edge if you have a serger. But if you don't worry about it. These bags are probably not going to get a whole lot of use, maybe just for that. But there's no telling. I'm going to put a cotton cord on those corners for a little strap. So my machine has a free arm, so I took the little extra plate off of there, and I'm going to do a top stitch around the top edge just to kind of hold that in place. And that front edge, I've turned it under an inch. There's an inch under on that top all the way around. And then I'm going to turn under a 1/4 inch, kind of like I did on the pocket. Now, if you don't have a free arm, I'm showing you how you could do this without a free arm. Just open it up, make sure you get that other piece of fabric, that you don't double stitch or stitch something that you're not intending to. Keep your fingers out of the way. Don't sew over your pins. So this will give me a little finish edge. It'll turn under all those little raw edges, so it'll be nice on the inside. Almost there. Here we go, here we go. There was one more pin. I love whenever I catch those on my fingers. Ouch. Not fun. Alright, then we want to get ready to put a button. Oh, our straps on here. There's a couple of different things that you can use for the straps. Now, that's going to be so cute. Look at that. That is so sweet. So, clothesline rope, parachute cord, cotton cord over in the fishing section, nylon cord in the fishing section, ribbon. There's a bright pink paracord. Those are in the craft section at Walmart, or you can find those at Hobby Lobby. Don't burn yourself. This works with nylon. It does not work with cotton. You'll set the cotton on fire. So be careful about that. Trim off that little piece of excess. And you could knot this and stitch it on the outside, or you could just do a little zigzag stitch to the inside, put the cord to the inside, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm lining that up over my seam, and I've got a pretty wide zigzag going on. Stitch it down and back. Make sure it's nice and secure. That's what it looks like from the front. Now my machine makes pretty stitches front and back, or inside and out. Now I need to find my middle for my button, and I've got a big old 1-inch button, and I also have a piece of interfacing that I'm going to put behind the button, since this is kind of just regular weight fabric. So stitch into that. Find that little dot that I just made to mark the center for my button. And I'm going to stitch through probably about 5 times. I don't know how much that this will get used, but I want to make sure that that little button is not going to pull through the fabric. That's the reason for the interfacing at the back, is so that give it just a little extra support and security. Stitching through and then tie it off. I usually tie 2 little knots on the back side. And a tangle. There we go. There's my little knot. And we are almost done. Almost done. Look at that. How cute is that? Thank you so much for watching and stitching. I hope that you like this. I hope that it helped. Be sure and let me know something in the comments if you like this or if you use it. Be sure and give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and share me with your friends. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.